If you are still trading your time for a fixed salary in an AI economy, you are not just falling behind, you are actively being replaced. Like today, right now.
Welcome to AI Market Mint.
Turn AI into income, turn knowledge into freedom. Your digital HQ for smart wealth creation.
Actually, wait, yeah,
Oh, I did your line, didn't I?
you did. I'm supposed to say the welcome.
Let's just keep going. Listen, you look around right now and you see thousands of supposedly brilliant, highly educated people. They have these shiny computer science degrees, right?
Right, the exact people society told us were the absolute winners.
Exactly. And they are just sitting in their expensive apartments, sweating, desperately firing off hundreds of resumes into the void because they are terrified of losing their remote jobs.
Yeah, and meanwhile, you look down the street and there's a guy in a dirty uniform driving a beat-up Ford F-250.
Yep.
He just quoted a homeowner $12,000 to replace a heat pump. I mean, he has no polished LinkedIn profile, he didn't go to a prestigious university, and he's booked out until November.
And the homeowner is going to pay it. Gladly. I mean, because they literally have no other choice. It's wild. Society sold us this total lie for 30 years that typing code in a perfectly air-conditioned room was the infallible safe bet.
I see it a bit differently, honestly. It's not just a lie, it's a massive, real-time wealth transfer. We are watching leverage move directly from the people who manage data back to the people who manipulate the physical world. The opportunity here is incredible if you know how to build the right systems.
But the risk of ignoring it is fatal. I mean, I see this panic sweeping through my network. People are finally realizing that their specialized digital labor, which is essentially just translating business logic into syntax, is a rapidly depreciating asset.
Because of infinite reproducibility. When an AI agent learns to write code or draft a standard contract, it doesn't just do it once. It does it a million times simultaneously for fractions of a penny. The supply just became infinite.
But you can't offshore a flooded basement. An AI model, no matter how advanced, cannot fix a leaky pipe. It cannot wire a commercial breaker box. The water is in your basement. You need physical torque.
Exactly. The physical world is entirely rigid. It is the ultimate economic moat right now. You cannot compress it, and you cannot reproduce physical labor at zero marginal cost.
Which gives the blue-collar worker absolute pricing power. A specialized welder charges $200 an hour, and they don't even blink when they hand you the invoice. They know you have no alternative.
When demand is inelastic, meaning you absolutely must have electricity, and the supply of human hands is artificially constrained, prices just go parabolic. The leverage flips entirely.
But look, this didn't just happen by accident. This is a multi-generational misallocation of human capital. Since the late 90s, the education system shoved this monolithic narrative down our throats. You either get a four-year degree or you are a failure.
Vocational trades were actively stigmatized. We watched high schools gut their shop classes, sell off the lathes and the welding gear, all to buy computer labs.
We engineered a massive shortage of skilled hands, and while we did that, we pumped the tech sector full of cheap money. We had this huge era of cheap debt, right? Investors desperately throwing cash at any redundant delivery app.
Yeah, and that completely warped our capital allocation. Wait, Hallie, capital allocation sounds technical. What does that actually mean for a normal person?
Simple. It just means deciding exactly where to put your money and time so it grows the fastest. Imagine it like planting seeds. You wouldn't waste seeds in dead soil. You put them where the yield is highest.
Right.
But society allocated all its capital into a towering digital penthouse and completely forgot to pour the concrete foundation beneath it.
And the irony is, the current AI boom requires more physical infrastructure than anything we've seen in decades. You need colossal data centers.
Heavy, concrete, industrial cooling, specialized high-voltage wiring. Data centers are not built out of code. You can design the best automated warehouse on a screen in California, but if you can't find commercial electricians in Ohio to physically wire the robotic...
Your digital model is useless.
Exactly. But here's what makes me crazy. Why are my friends with CS degrees still sending out 500 resumes instead of learning to wire a server rack?
Right.
Like, the math is so obvious.
It's profound cognitive dissonance. People are irrationally terrified of losing their perceived social standing at dinner parties. They built their entire identity around having a prestigious title and performing intellectual labor in an office.
Let's look at Steve. Fictional guy, perfect example. Steve does everything right, takes out 150 grand in student loans to get a CS degree.
And initially, it looks great. He lands a remote job making $90,000 a year. He's sitting in a trendy coffee shop with a latte, feeling superior. But his actual daily job is just middle-tier coding, taking basic business requirements and translating them.
which AI does infinitely faster and cheaper, so Steve inevitably gets laid off. But instead of looking at the macro economy and pivoting, he burns his savings applying for the exact same dying jobs. He refuses to admit his degree is depreciating.
Right, but then look at Mike. Mike skipped college entirely. He bought a used truck, started power washing driveways, and then aggressively scaled his business into specialized HVAC installation.
Yeah, but Slave secretly looks down on Mike. Spike thinks the trades are just turning a wrench until your back gives out.
Which is just aesthetic bias. If you look at what it takes to install a high-tonnage commercial HVAC system, it requires immense spatial reasoning, critical thinking, a deep understanding of fluid dynamics, and applied physics. You're solving complex, three-dimensional puzzles in real time.
It just happens to take place in a damp crawl space instead of an open plan office with a ping pong table. But because of that, the white collar class dismisses it entirely.
You really have to strip away the emotion here and look strictly at the raw financial mechanics. The market always punishes vanity, and it heavily rewards utility. When you map out the W-2 white-collar path against a blue-collar equity vehicle, the whole illusion just shatters completely.
Let's do the brutal math right now, because the W-2 path is basically a high-tax trap dressed up in a nice suit. 4 years of university means 4 years of zero income, massive opportunity cost right out of the gate, plus that 150 grand in non-dischargeable debt.
And even if Steve makes $120,000, he usually has to live in a major tech hub like San Francisco or New York.
Just to be near the industry.
Right. And state and federal taxes instantly vaporize roughly 40% of his gross income. Then rent is 3.5 grand a month for a tiny apartment. By the time he accounts for food and servicing that massive student loan, he is essentially living paycheck to paycheck on a six-figure salary.
It is incredibly bleak. Now, flip it to the blue-collar math. Mike starts with a paid apprenticeship.
Which means zero student debt. He earns steady capital while learning the skill.
Starts a specialized contracting business at 22 with maybe 10 grand in basic equipment. His initial cost of capital is incredibly low, and boom, he unlocks a tax code built for owners, not W-2 employees. He leverages Section 179 depreciation.
Wait, Ollie. Section 179, depreciation, sounds technical. What does that actually mean for a normal person?
Simple. It just means the government lets you deduct the entire purchase price of business equipment from your taxes immediately. Imagine getting a massive cash discount coupon from the IRS just for buying the truck you already needed to do your job.
It lowers taxable income while acquiring hard revenue-generating assets. The W-2 worker pays heavy taxes first and tries to live on leftovers. The business owner spends on the business first and pays taxes only on the remaining profit.
And the billing leverage is insane. A single trade owner running their own truck can easily bill out at $200 an hour. If they only work 30 active billable hours a week, that grosses over $230,000 annually.
In a mid-sized market, where a beautiful four-bedroom house is $400,000, not $2.5 million.
Plus, we have to talk about inflation. When 9% inflation hits, what does Steve do? He schedules a meeting with his manager and begs for a pathetic 3% raise.
While Mike just updates his pricing software on his iPad. He passes that 9% inflation directly to the consumer instantly. He completely controls his margins.
Most importantly, Mike is building real equity in an enterprise. Steve can't sell his job when he retires. When an AI agent replaces him, his cash flow drops to zero immediately.
But Mike's established HVAC business with a strong, recurring commercial maintenance client list. That is an asset that could be sold for a massive multiple.
So there are really only two paths forward for the next decade. You have the stubborn traditionalist and you have the strategic pivot.
The stubborn traditionalist is the person who clings to the old model. Their remote role is gradually hollowed out by AI. They accept stagnant wages just to keep the laptop lifestyle, and they live in constant fear of the next corporate restructuring.
It's a slow financial bleed, but the strategic pivot. That is the person who recognizes that physical infrastructure is the ultimate remaining bottleneck. They combine modern AI efficiency with blue-collar trades to build a highly lucrative enterprise.
The playbook for this is highly strategic. It's 4 specific steps. Step 1, you identify a highly fragmented local service sector that is currently run by aging owners. Think about industries like HVAC, industrial cleaning, specialized electrical, or commercial plumbing.
Step 2, you learn the core business mechanics. And this is crucial. It isn't just about the technical skill of turning a wrench. It's about understanding dispatching efficiency, accurate estimating, and navigating complex local permit regulations. You learn how the money actually moves.
That brings us to step 3, which is where the real leverage happens. This is where you integrate modern AI to ruthlessly run the back office. You take a highly fragmented old-school analog business,
Hmm.
the kind that currently runs on whiteboards and sticky notes, and you wrap it tightly in modern software efficiency.
Right, like algorithmic pricing logic. Instead of having a static price list, you implement software that tracks local weather data.
Exactly. If there is a massive heat wave coming in July, the AI automatically adjusts your dispatch rate for broken air conditioners before the phone even rings, maximizing your margins. You use automated routing software to cut windshield time in half.
And step 4, you acquire an existing operation from a retiring boomer using seller financing. You don't even start from scratch.
Wait, Ali, seller financing sounds technical. What does that actually mean for a normal person?
Simple. It just means skipping the bank completely and buying a business by paying the current owner out of the future profits over time. Imagine it like taking over someone's car payments, but you get to drive the car to work to earn the money to pay them.
It's a brilliant vehicle. The retiring owner gets a steady retirement income, and you get an established client list and a fleet of trucks without putting up massive personal collateral.
Now, listen closely. This is where people completely fail. They fail at step 3 because they try to duct tape a bunch of random AI tools together. They use one app for routing, another for invoices, a random chatbot for leads, and it becomes a fragmented mess. They don't have a centralized system, so they drop leads and bleed money.
Which is exactly why having a single, cohesive AI management platform is non-negotiable. It simplifies the entire execution. It handles the automated dispatching, the algorithmic pricing, and the AI customer service agents for late-night emergency calls, all in one unified dashboard.
It filters out the noise so you can focus purely on scaling the operation. We've put the official verified links in the pinned comment below. Don't go searching randomly and get scammed. Use the ones we've checked.
The smartest operators in this space, they don't even swing the hammers themselves. They build the ruthless machine that deploys the physical labor efficiently.
But the window is closing. Institutional money has recognized this massive premium on physical execution. Private equity is clumsy at the hyperlocal level right now. They struggle with community relationships. But once they heavily consolidate these local service markets over the next 5 to 10 years, the barrier to entry will skyrocket.
The time to acquire or build physical service leverage is right now. We have officially moved from an era where data manipulation was the scarce, highly rewarded asset to an era where skilled human hands are the ultimate scarcity.
If your output can be sent through a fiber optic cable, your margins are compressing. But if it requires physical presence and torque, your margins are expanding uncontrollably.
It's entirely possible that the very thing society told us was low status for the last 30 years is poised to become the ultimate luxury good of the 2030s. Raw, physical human handiwork.
Don't let the future leave you behind. Start earning.